What's up, guys? It's Even10 here. So I want to apologize because I know it's been a while since I made my last kind of guide video or whatever you want to call it. I know like a week ago I asked you guys what kind of video you guys wanted me to cover. And you guys all selected the Sisters of Eve kind of mission fit. So that's what I'm doing right now. Honestly, I used to do these all the time in a rattlesnake, and I still use it occasionally, but I really wanted to challenge myself. So in this case, I started making a Typhoon fleet issue fit, and this thing can actually do quite a bit of damage. I will admit on this capsuleer that I do have +3 implants for damage, as well as cycle time, or I guess you could say firing rate on the missiles. So the damage is a bit higher, but with this fit and that my current skills, I push about 1250 damage, including the drones. So sometimes I'm not always using the drones, so sometimes it's a bit closer to 900 or so. But I do like using sentries. I like using heavies with this fit. On this one, this one is damsel in distress, and sometimes it makes you question how many damsels are really in distress in this game. But this one was pretty easy. This one I usually just burn away as fast as you can, because once you get the Pleasure Garden down to like 50% armor or so, it starts spawning spider drones, which have insane speed and insane slow percentage. So I just try to burn it and get as much speed as possible. I'm using T2 missiles. I kill it and I warp away. And especially on that one, I didn't have any concerns because there's no warp scramblers. In most of these missions, there aren't warp scrams. So on honestly, most of these missions, I'm not too afraid of dying. I just really try to double check to make sure that there aren't any scrams or disruptors that could kill me. This one is Duo of Death. This one's just more annoying than anything. I just lock up the heavy missile batteries, which tend to do the most damage. And all in all, like the whole point I'm trying to take advantage of in the like Sisters of Eve and like the Angel Cartel and stuff like that out in the region that I do missions in, is that the Angel Cartel have like really, really short range. And sometimes they don't always do a ton of damage. So I'm really trying to take advantage of the range and the speed that the Typhoon fleet issue has. There are some missions where it is very close quarters and the tank can be a bit iffy, which is why I do have quite a few mid slots that I like to swap in and out. I will be covering the fit towards the end of the video and kind of just showing what I have. I'll also be linking the fit down in the description below as well. But as you can see here on this one, this is a pretty easily blitzable one. I don't remember this one, but all I know, this is, oh, it says right there, stop the thief, yeah. So this one, you just shoot the battleship. I should already be aligning to the out gate back to Lanngisi. This one, I actually noticed I had the wrong overview on, so I had to snap over to the right overview. On this one, you just have to kill the battleship. You have to kill Shadow. I'm using my Microwarpdrive to just get away, because there are a couple of the elite frigates that do have scrams, so they will lock you in place if you don't manage to pull distance. So on this one, you notice I actually just have double range scripts. So as I'm burning away, I'm not afraid at all of being outranged or kind of like running out of range of the target. So this one, just kill 2 battleships and get out. Strangely enough, that mission suggests that you use thermal damage, but you should be using explosive because you are hitting the Angel Cartel for whatever reason. On this one, I am actually using explosive. I showed the fit there very briefly, and we are going to be doing the Worlds Collide. So this one can be a bit iffy. This first room actually isn't too threatening. It's just more annoying than anything, because when you first warp in, you have 2 frigates and those 3 like missile sentry guns shooting you. Those are pretty easy to take care of, and you don't aggro anything else in the pocket. But for some reason, the second you launch drones, you just start aggroing everything in the pocket. So a lot of the times I was just drone dancing, getting them in and out of my cargo hold. I even tried shooting some of those groups on the side and just aggroing one group at a time and not letting my drones go out. But the second I always let my drones out, they started getting focused instantly. And as you can see here, I actually don't have any of my missile guidance computers in the mid slots. I actually just doubled down, got another multispectral shield hardener, and I think I also put in a shield boost amplifier. So as I'm repping, I'm healing for more. And I do have a C-type shield repper that I'm using. So it's actually a medium, believe it or not. It is not a heavy because, like I said, the Angel Cartel have really short range. So if you're just keeping far enough range most of the time, you shouldn't be taking a lot of damage. Most of the time, it's just to kind of mitigate or at least just kind of cushion some of the damage. And this is where the mission can actually get really dangerous. This is where it can get a bit scary, because right when you warp in, there are about 4 or 5 elite frigates that will scram you. So the first thing I did was just burn away as fast as I could. You don't need to overheat the Microwarpdrive, but if you feel like you need to, it's probably a good idea. So the first thing I do is to lock up all the small ships. Right now, I'm just locking up all the frigates. And the nice thing I do like about this fit and using rapid heavies and T2 missiles and all that stuff is I am able to just one-shot all the destroyers, which are like the second fastest ships. So at this point, I am just sending out my drones, taking care of the frigates while my missiles are taking care of the destroyers. And now at this point, we're about 30 or 40 kilometers away from the battleships. And at this point, I'm feeling pretty safe. This is a good distance to maintain for the most part against the battleships. As you can see, a lot of them are missing. At this point, I do get quite a bit lazy for two reasons. One, I just stopped pulling range for whatever reason. I was just kind of just sitting there shooting them down. I guess I'm just used to running these missions in a rattlesnake, and it has been a while since I've run like the Sisters of Eve missions when I was recording this, so I did get a bit lazy. But as you can see, I am getting laser painted right now, so I needed to take care of that. Right there, there's the Nephilim and the Saint are both target painting me right now, and I don't know why I'm not focusing them right now, because they are making it easy for all the other ships to shoot me right now. So this is kind of what I mean about being lazy. So you still need to follow the same procedure and order of operations of like focusing the right ships that are E-warring you or making it easier for the other ships to focus you down. And I realized, again, you can do all this stuff in a rattlesnake or in a marauder and make all this stuff infinitely easier. But again, for you guys, I'm not the type of person that's just going to say, hey, buy a 1.5 bill ship, spend another 400 mil in implants and call it a day. You know, I'm always trying to push the limits of these ships. And like I said, I knew the Typhoon fleet issue. You know, we're using a unique fit here. We're doing a shield fit. All the lows are dedicated strictly to application and damage. I just kind of wanted to see how much we can kind of get away with this fit. And most of the time when it was cut close, I was just being lazy and not keeping distance on a lot of these guys. For some of you guys that are kind of terrified of the cap being low, I think it's okay. And I think for you guys that are mission runners, you know, I think it's a good challenge to start using different ships, but also really pushing the limits of your capacitor, because I do want to make a video at some point saying that being cap stable is pretty overrated. If you actually look at the fit here towards the end of the video that I'm going to show, it says my capacitor is only going to last 3 minutes, but most engagements shouldn't be lasting that long, or that's assuming that you're running like a Microwarpdrive the whole time. This one, we're actually doing right hand of Zazmataz. This one, there's two ways you can run this mission. You can just sit back, you can focus, and always focus Zor first, because that dude is hitting you for about 1,000 damage per hit, and you really want to make sure that you focus him down first, because he's hitting you pretty hard from really far range. So if you take him down, the second target is obviously the outpost headquarters. This one, again, I'm always just trying to stress test my ship. I could have just stayed back, focused everything down from range, used sentry drones and killed it and just warped off. But I wanted to actually loot the wreck from Zor, because I know he does have those really expensive implants if you get lucky. I believe on this one, I end up just not looting it because I took a really awkward angle. And I think Zor also spawned in an awkward angle too. I'm not sure if he's always exactly behind that satellite dish each and every time. I didn't want to go straight through and risk the collision of the satellite. Right here, as you can see me, I'm spamming loot, and of course that really, really bright explosion. I tried spamming loot, but we were just outside of the loot range, and I didn't want to risk having to re-angle this giant battleship, and possibly, because there are scrams on this mission. I noticed that the frigates are getting within about 15 kilometers. I'm getting nervous, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to warp out. I believe if we did get scrammed here, we probably still would have survived. Or if we got disrupted, we still would have survived. All I would have done is just put all of my damage onto the biggest ships, work my way down. We would have survived. And again, this is a shield fit ship. So if you do get focused and you get down in armor, that's still plenty of time to get away. So if you get down to armor and then into hull, it should be enough time. This one, we're doing Silence of the Informant, in which, in my opinion, I think this first room is the most dangerous. Like, you really need to focus down the battleships first, because if you don't, they start doing a lot of thermal damage and start smacking your ship from pretty much 60, 70 kilometers away. So you need to focus them. So if you have 6 or 7 battleships all smacking you, it starts dealing a lot of damage. So I tend to focus them first. All right, I'm going to try and keep this next part quick, because I've honestly recorded it a few times, but here is the fit for the ship that I use. I guess I want to put it at the end of the video, just because, I don't know, I guess I wanted to show the footage first of it in action before I give you guys the fit. Plus, that kind of stuff is always in the description if you guys wanted to check it out or copy it. Call my Typhoon Fleet Issue Storm. Storm is one of my favorite X-Men. I think one of the special moves she had in an arcade game was called Typhoon, so I just called it that. That's just kind of what came to mind. But regardless, I would say 2 things that probably pop out to you guys if you guys are looking at this is the low slots. It's strictly for just damage and application. And the mid slots, we don't have a lot of tank. Like, the tank on this thing is pretty darn low, but what we're really trying to take advantage of are a few things. One, like I said before, the Angel Cartel out in this region when I was running the missions for the Sisters of Eve, they have really, really short range. So we're trying to take advantage of range, damage, and speed, which are the 3 things that this thing does pretty well. So whenever we get those missions that we're warped in, like right on top of the bad guys, whether it's Worlds Collide or Damsel in Distress, whatever it is, we can just warp away very quickly, get that range, and then we're able to maintain it because we have this 500 MN Microwarpdrive. But regardless, we have three ballistic damage controls. Sorry, three ballistic control systems down here for more damage, 2 drone damage amps, and 2 missile guidance enhancers here in the lows as well. In the cargo, I did add some more stuff, so this actually does pad the cost here a little bit. I think this is a little bit closer to like 630 or so it's not 650 exactly. The whole thing is modular. Like, you want to be able to, you should always look up the missions when you're running them. So figuring out the spawn ranges, what are the spawns, frigates with scrams that could end up getting you killed. You want to kill things in the right orders in case you don't want to trigger anything that could get you killed as well. So you always want to make sure you kind of keep that top of mind when you're running this. So this fit is pushing almost exactly 1300 DPS, and I will remind you, I do have pretty high drone skills as well as missile skills. I'm running T2 missiles as well, and I typically use Caldari Navy Wasps because I am out and usually tackling the Angel Cartel, and a lot of the ships are weak to kinetic, or at least it's like at least a primary or secondary weakness to them. But I would recommend, if you can, because some of the missions are very long range, you are going to be shooting things 60, 70 kilometers away. I would suggest also getting some sentry drones as well. Same thing. I just typically use wardens because those have the furthest range. Even if kinetic is like, I guess you could say like the second worst resistance, where it's like that's their third highest resistance, I still use wardens just strictly for the range because all the other ones are really, really short, to be honest. So I typically do that. Rig slots, large warhead calcification catalyst just to push more damage, hydraulic based thrusters for more range, and then the memory cell for more capacitor, because this thing is pretty low in capacitor. I don't even have I did put one in here in case you guys are one of those people that always needs to be cap stable or have a pretty high capacitor in order to feel comfortable. That's in there as well. Of course, you can always upgrade this to a Republic fleet if you need to upgrade that as well. But again, rapid heavies, the rest of this is pretty, at least in the high slots, are pretty self-explanatory. We are actually, and the reason why I'm actually running 2 of these missile guidance enhancing computers is because we can actually increase the range by quite a bit on here. We're able to shoot things from 72 kilometers out if we're using the T2 missiles, which is why in Damsel in Distress, you notice I kind of stopped a bit because I was getting out to about 74, 75, and I was getting out of range, which is why I like to keep a handy set of Caldari ammo just in case I am feeling either a bit lazy or if I do need to shoot stuff from further away. We're actually pushing about 96 kilometers with this fit. And again, this whole fit isn't supposed to be cookie cutter. There are some things I am still trying to tweak and analyze. Even like this large warhead calcification catalyst, I noticed that it's not pushing a ton of extra damage. So if you guys want to swap this out, you're only losing about 25 damage if you're swapping this in and out, but it does help if you are using the Caldaris. If you need more tank, more capacitor, whatever it is. I really just wanted to push the maximum damage possible with this fit, but not completely without dying. So I was really trying to push the damage as high as possible, but have like the minimum tank possible in order to run these missions. Mid slots, Restrained Microwarpdrive. I actually have a Pith C-type medium shield booster, which doesn't give a lot of shielding. This fit isn't for brawling. It can do a bit of brawling if you are swapping out some of this stuff, but this is not what it's fit for. If you are brawling, you need to get some distance and shoot stuff from far away. With the rapid heavies and being able to do 1300 damage, you are able to down at least 2, at least like I would say 3 battleships before you're able to need to reload again and put your ogres on something else. So at that point, the incoming damage should, lessen significantly. Multispectral here. And again, if you need for more application or anything like that, if you are facing a room that are a lot of like close range frigates, sometimes I do that. I just swap out both of these for missile precision scripts. If you are in a pretty brawly room, like I said before, you can swap some of this stuff out. Like you can actually put in like a large cap battery and maybe like a multispectral if you need a bit of tank and want a little bit of extra capacitor as well. There's also a shield boost amplifier if you would rather have that as well. That's actually overloaded by 0.3. So you put that in there. Well, like this is a pretty decent brawly fit. Like you can actually survive a decent amount of stuff. The resistances are high. You're not getting healed a ton, but you are pushing a ton of damage. So of course, again, you want to focus the right targets. And of course, if you want to brawl it, not brawl it, but if you want to tank it even more, that's why the damage control here is down in the low as well. So at this point, we have some pretty respectable tank and still have really high damage output for the cost of roughly 630 million. So again, the whole point of this is, I mean, of course, you could always just fly a Marauder, you can fly a Rattlesnake and go through these much quicker, but I've been really enjoying flying some of the T1 and some of the faction versions of these like Empire ships and really trying to push their limits on what they can do. So that's pretty much it, guys. If you guys like this video, if you guys want me to cover more content similar to this, let me know down in the comments below. And again, I apologize that it took me so long to get this video out to you guys. So I want to try and be better about it. And I think what I'm going to try and do is, starting on Saturday, I'm going to try my best to do a video a day for a whole week. So do a video a day and really challenge myself, because honestly I've been a bit lazy, but I've also been dealing with some personal stuff. But now that that's all in order, I'm able to do more stuff for you guys. So hopefully we'll do that, and I'll be more active in those community posts as well if you guys want to check those out. So that's it, guys. I'll talk to you later. Fly safe.